Can people with disabilities participate fully in your church community? Is it as accessible and inclusive as it could be? It's not just about ramps and handrails. It's also about perception, communication, connection, education. That's why CBN has created Luke 14, free training to equip you and your church to better include people with disabilities. Access this free training now at cbn.org.au/Luke14.
Welcome back to another episode of the Everyday Joy podcast. I'm your host, Ash Couchman, and I cannot wait to find moments of joy with you today. If you want to continue the discussion after today's episode, would you jump over to our Facebook community group, get involved in the conversation, and just tell us your thoughts, anything that pops out to you. It's such a great environment to be a part of. That is linked in the show notes. We're going to jump right into today's words to live by.
1 Peter 3:9. Do not repay evil with evil or insult with insult. On the contrary, repay evil with blessing, because to this you were called so that you may inherit a blessing.
Lovely Jen.
Hello.
How you doing today?
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good?
Pretty good for a Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? I'm losing. I'm blaming it on pregnancy brain.
Whatever day it is, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Breathing. We're still moving. We're still going. Did you have a nice Christmas? I know that we're like over a month.
Yeah.
Over a month out.
I feel like I'm still saying Happy New Year and Merry Christmas anyway, so let's just drag it out.
The most recent big event is still Christmas and New Year's. So, you know, we're on the way to Easter, but we're still definitely in Christmas brain sometimes.
Yes, always.
Have you taken your Christmas tree down, or is it still up?
It is half up, half down, if that makes sense.
That is literally the exact same as mine. The baubles are off. The light, like, it's just the tree is just kind of still sitting there empty.
It's just a bit naked.
Yeah, but, you know, that's fine. I got to get the motivation to do it this weekend, but
I've got a live tree, so like it still smells really nice.
That's nice.
But it's starting to get brown.
I was going to say, surely it's starting to die. Yeah. Oh man, no, mine's fake, so it's not as bad.
Or messy.
Or there's not going to be a bunch of pine needles falling out everywhere. Oh man, well, I'm glad you had a good Christmas. I'm glad that it was good. I'm glad you got some family time, and I just keep thinking about the fact that there's not long until you go on leave for your maternity leave.
Yeah, not long at all.
Have you been nesting?
No, this time around, no. This is weird though. So in my first pregnancy, and for those who are second time, third time mums and who have multiple kids, I think you'll relate to this, and you're there nodding your head. My first pregnancy, I would like take progress photos of myself and my belly growing. I only just took a photo a few weeks ago.
Wow.
Like, this is how late, and I'm in my third trimester now. This is like not the same pregnancy.
It's different. But also when you have other kids, I would assume you're kind of a bit busier than when you were last time.
Just a little bit.
I know. I remember talking to a bunch of like my friends who are mums, and they're like, the first one, they're like, if you're tired, you just lie on the couch.
Yeah.
Once you have other kids, you're like chasing them around. Or
they're jumping on you.
They're jumping on you, correct. Yeah. You're still waking up with them sometimes at night if they need to like go to the bathroom or something.
Yes.
So you're doing well. You're doing well. This scripture, 1 Peter 3 verse 9, do not pay evil with evil or insult with insult. On the contrary, repay evil with blessing, because this is what you were called, so that you may inherit a blessing.
Wow, what a wow verse. Every time I read this verse, I'm like, oh, okay, God, okay.
We're challenged.
Very, very challenged, because when I feel like someone has done evil or insulted me or anyone that I love, I want to go back. I'm like, God, strike them down right now. And I know it's not the right thing to do, but it's just this impulsive like feeling of protectiveness, right? Like you just want to protect yourself and your family and God.
Yeah, it's a sense of justice that we probably all have in us.
Yes, but this verse tells us completely different.
Yeah,
this just humbles me and puts me back on the ground. God's like, don't repay evil with evil.
Yeah,
not with insult with an insult. You got to bless them.
And that's what I love, I think, the most about this verse is it doesn't just say, don't do it. It also says, go even further and bless them. I think something that I heard on a podcast the other day really, it encapsulated the gospel so well for me. And that's exactly what this did. Because a lot of people kind of say that, you know, when Jesus came and he was talking to all of the, you know, religious people of that time, they all go, you know, he was like changing and correcting the law, right?
Yeah.
And this person said it so beautifully. They said, he didn't change it. He just brought it back to its truth. So he basically, and in 1 Peter, it's saying, so don't just not insult. You got to go more than that and bless them. Like, it's not just the not doing, it's the going beyond.
Yeah.
And it was that, it's so true when you look at what Jesus said, you know, he goes, well, this is the law, but you got to do this even more so. And so it's this beautiful kind of reframing of going, and I don't mean this in a disheartening way, it's not enough to just not retaliate. Like, we actually need to change our heart posture. And I'm sure you've been through situations, and I've been through situations, and everyone listening has been through situations where, and look, to be honest, I'm still walking through those situations where we need to change our heart posture so that we can bless people who have treated us unkindly or unjustly or unfairly. And I had a moment where I realized this is actually a part of life, and this is a part of the life lessons that I'm going to have to learn, is how to forgive quickly, because that's a lot of what it is. It's forgiving.
Yes.
And it's also going, I care more about you being blessed and you knowing Jesus than I do about me being right or me getting my justice.
Yeah.
And I think when I was reading this, it was kind of saying, like, as Christians, we're actually called to not live with a mindset of like revenge and like tit for tat. We're truly called into this place of loving people. That's what the message of Jesus is about.
Yeah.
It's about loving people beyond ourselves, you know? It's about going beyond just how we feel, kind of like in yesterday's episode, and actually blessing people. And I actually think that's one of the greatest ways to overcome unforgiveness is blessing. And in the sense of, it's really hard to be deeply hurt by someone that you are praying for every day, that you are asking for God's blessing. Like, when you get to the point where you're saying, Lord, bless this person, and you truly believe it in your heart, like, that's where things change. That's where things shift. And it's not easy, and it's not a walk in the park by any stretch, but it's what we're called to. And that's the last line. You were called to that so you may inherit a blessing. Like, we're not called to hold on to those things. We're not called for revenge. And we're actually called to bless and to you know, foster peaceful relationships.
Yeah. The numbers 360 keeps coming on my head every time we talk about this, because for me, this is complete opposite of what someone who doesn't follow Christ would do. If we feel like we've been hurt, we want to hurt someone else. We want to give them their medicine back. We want to tell them, no, you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you back, so you understand why it's wrong. But God is telling us completely different. He's saying, no, let's do a 360 on that. Let's go back completely, and don't think of hurting someone else. Even though your feelings may be hurt, put that aside. Think of what Jesus would do. Think of why they would have hurt you, and then you repay them with a blessing. Like all the hardwired that socials have told us, what society has told us. And this verse reminds me of this one story that keeps popping in my head. I know God keeps putting different things in my head. And it was a time where of a family, I'm going to say a family disagreement with one family member on my husband Kevin's side of the family, where Kev actually went up to her and kind of spilled out
all the frustrations
that he's been building all of his childhood to adulthood, and all because she asked a question about me. And so he full on let it all out, let out the gates. And what she took out of it was that it was me. It was me who changed his life, his views on her. So I'm going down my day I was at work having a pretty good day. All of a sudden I get a message saying, how dare you turn my nephew against me? How dare you do that? And I was like, where did this come from? And then I got 4 phone calls from different other family members saying, if this person calls you, don't pick up. They're completely emotional high. They don't know what they're talking about right now. We need to calm down. And I'm sitting there going, what just happened? So I called Kev. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I let it loose on her. And there I am going, okay, so why is this my fault? What's happening? So after that, there was so many family meetings about how to deal with her and what this situation was. And I'm sitting there going, I didn't do anything. What is going on? So instead of me calling her back and telling her that she's wrong, telling her that's not fair to blame it on me without dealing it with her own nephew, I actually prayed with her. I prayed when I was at home. I prayed when I was at work. I prayed when I was in my car. Every prayer I said to God, I'm like, please just look after her. I know I'm suffering myself and I'm crying and I'm questioning everything that I did, but I want to make sure that she's okay. Yeah, that was hard.
Yeah.
That was so incredibly hard.
It's hard to sit there and be like we keep saying, like when you have that sense of justice being like, but I didn't do anything. Yeah. And sometimes, and it makes me think, and I'm sure there's people listening where you have been like wrongly accused or you have communicated something and it's been interpreted the total wrong way. And you get left in this position where you kind of have to just take it on the chin. But I love what you did. You didn't just not retaliate. You prayed for her. You blessed her, all those things.
Yeah. And I felt like that's the only thing I could really do. I couldn't really speak to her about it. I felt like they'll be adding more fuel to it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to literally take this to God. I have to, because there's no one else that could actually help me in this situation, can help her in this situation or to mend that relationship. I actually don't remember how all of this stopped. I don't know how. I don't know if Kev and her sat down and spoke about it. I have no idea, but all I know was that I gave it to God and I found that peace within me to not go, I'm going to pay her back. I'm going to make her feel like exactly what she put me through. I'm sharing this story because I want our listeners to go, you know what? Things do happen to you, but if you give it to God, you pray to God, you speak to Him about it, God's going to help you through it. Because we can't do it on our own. We're only humans. We're not that special that way. God is, and God will lead us through it.
Yeah. And I think that's such a great thought. We try and fix everything in our world, and sometimes the best thing to do is to give it to God and to release it from our control, because we want to fix things, we want to change things, we want to make it better. But I love what you were saying. You just got to release it and give it to God. I cannot wait to dive even deeper into the Word of God with you tomorrow with the lovely Jen again. But until then, I pray you're able to find moments of joy.
Can people with disabilities participate fully in your church community? Is it as accessible and inclusive as it could be? It's not just about ramps and handrails. It's also about perception, communication, connection, education. That's why CBN has created Luke 14, free training to equip you and your church to better include people with disabilities. Access this free training now at cbn.org.au/Luke14.